In this video, I'm going to be going over why the first Five Nights at Freddy's game is the most realistic in the franchise and why it is also the most suspenseful. Five Nights at Freddy's 1 is deemed the most realistic FNAF game of the entire franchise. This claim comes as a result of the game maintaining the fear of the unknown aspect, which makes it so scary to play. This game was one of the first major mascot horror games to be released, and at the time of this recording has just passed its 10-year anniversary. Since its release back in August 2014, its fan base has grown tremendously. The whole premise of the game, for those that do not know, is that it is based off of a Chuck E. Cheese type of family-friendly pizzeria with kid-friendly animatronics that are attempting to murder you. Since you are the night guard in this game, you're given the terrible overnight shift of 12 AM to 6 AM over the course of 5 nights, hence the title of the game. Your main objective is to reach 6 AM without being killed by any of the animatronics. This sounds easier said than done because as you progress through each night, it becomes more difficult and the animatronics become more aggressive. This game makes you utilize sound more than anything, making it more suspenseful, especially if you're clueless about what audio cues to look out for. Some of the more prominent audio cues to look out for are Freddy's laugh, Bonnie and Chica's groaning, Foxy's dum diddly dum hum, and the little music loop that occurs in the background. The fan in your office has an annoyingly loud buzzing noise which already has you on the edge of your seat since you feel distracted by it while trying to look out for the animatronics coming to get you. Scott Cawthon did a really good job of making you feel alone and helpless since you are stuck in a fixated position and do not have anything to defend yourself with against the animatronics other than some hallway lights and a couple of doors to block off the entryways into the office. The funny thing is that the animatronics aren't your true enemy in this game though, it's the power, since any little thing you do with the cameras, lights, and or the doors causes you to drain power quicker than if you were to not look at anything. But you are forced to have to use those 3 items in order to defend yourself, so it results in it being a game about strategy. Now that doesn't sound so bad, but implementing strategy into a game that provides a major fear of the unknown results in one of the most suspenseful games you have ever played. What makes Five Nights at Freddy's 1 stand out from the rest of the franchise is the unsettling vibe that it produces, since the animatronics slowly creep up on your office while you defenselessly watch them through the cameras. This game has made a lot of people, mostly children, develop a fear of Chuck E. Cheese, which is kinda crazy to think about, especially since most modern horror games cannot provide a feeling like that anymore. Even though the premise of the game is unrealistic with free-roaming possessed animatronics coming to kill you, it's actually something that is frighteningly becoming more of a reality every day since our technology continues to advance and we are seeing more prototypes of walking animatronics. So who knows? Five Nights at Freddy's might become a reality in the next couple of years. Because Scott knew how to play on people's real-life fears, he was able to create a game that overlooked some of its unrealistic aspects to make it so terrifyingly realistic. What makes this game stand out as the most realistic in the franchise is the aesthetic of the characters and the pizzeria as a whole. Scott utilized a lot of dark lighting in this game, which shrouded the animatronics in darkness and hid their appearance, which made them look very realistic. When we look at the main stage camera, we can see that all 3 of the animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica, are in their normal show positions, as if the pizzeria just closed. Another thing that makes the animatronics look lifelike is the texture that they all have, which makes them look all old and worn down. In comparison to the toy animatronics in FNAF 2, it's a complete night and day difference in regards to their realism. Staying on the topic of realism, let's talk about the jump scares. Each animatronic has its own unique jump scare. Foxy just leans through the left doorway, Bonnie gets right up in your face while maintaining eye contact the whole time. Chica does a similar jump scare to Bonnie, but however, her eyes are cross-eyed so she appears more lifeless, which can be more terrifying. And Freddy has 2 types of jump scares. His first jump scare is probably the most terrifying of the bunch since he jumps into your view from the right side and kinda angrily screams in your face with lifeless black eyes. His second jump scare is not as terrifying, at least not because of his appearance, but more so because of the anticipation for it to happen since it is completely random. It only activates when you run out of power and the whole place goes dark after he walks up to your left doorway playing his little tune. It can range from 1 second after pitch darkness to up to 10 seconds in pitch darkness before the jump scare triggers. These jump scares look so good compared to the sequels because they were all rendered into the scene of the office rather than being added as transparent images or a GIF overlay like in FNAF 2 or FNAF Ultimate Custom Night. Another way FNAF 1 feels so unnerving is because it is one of the only games that the animatronics have black eyes with white pupils. which gives you chills when you see them because you know it's unnatural, especially since they normally have their giant cartoonish style eyeballs. That is usually one of the first indications that these animatronics are seriously messed up, and some souls are possessing these characters. This ties in with the lore of the game, and I won't get into that too much, but essentially, this once nice family pizzeria took a turn for the worse once news started spreading that the murder of 5 children occurred here by a sadistic man in an empty yellow rabbit animatronic costume who turned out to be William Afton. These 5 children were then stuffed into the suits of the animatronics and were later discovered by customers due to an awful rotten stench coming from the animatronics, which caused the health department to come in and shut down Freddy's for good, which is why you are stepping in as the nighttime security guard to help guard this place against vandalizers, even though these possessed animatronics want to kill you. Five Nights at Freddy's 1 succeeds as being the most realistic and suspenseful in the franchise because it makes the gameplay somewhat unpredictable and not making it tedious, unlike games like FNAF 2, unless you keep dying over and over on 2020 mode. Don't get me wrong, I love FNAF 2, it is my second favorite FNAF game, but it just doesn't have the same grip on me like FNAF 1 does. With all of these reasons and details, I can say that from my personal opinion, the original Five Nights at Freddy's game is the most realistic and suspenseful in the franchise. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, whether you agree with me or not, and if you think the same way about another FNAF game. And do let me know if I missed any important details that make the game terrifyingly realistic. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, have a great day or night, and I will see you in the next video.